But that day never came. After finishing school, he got a job that paid just enough to survive for 20 years. His personal life was just as lonely. He lived by himself, never having the chance to hold anyone's hand. And now, it seemed his lonely journey was ending. The truth hit him hard. Could this be one of those stories where someone ends up in another world? In this strange new place, Yan realized he was now called Ren. Confused, he tried to understand what happened, but answers were hard to find. A week passed in this magical world. Ren lived a dreamlike life, with servants at his service all the time. While our land is stable now, the future of the Koreal Empire is shaky. Lords were always in conflict, with secret rivalries and schemes making everything more dangerous and complicated. Since coming to this new life, Ren felt a kind of care and love he never had before. The streets of Island City showed these scars, with beggars everywhere and despair in the air. As he walked through the broken streets, Ren decided he needed to do a full population check to see who could still work. But first, he wanted to go to the city lord's manor to look at the reserve funds and see what could be used for improvements. Elda was an amazing world, where magic ran everything. The Koreal Empire, the biggest human nation on the continent, was home to many races, like elves and dwarves. The Edgar family was powerful, ruling over a large area of 300,000 square kilometers. Their land had rich fields, a grand castle, and more than 1 million people. When Yan opened his eyes, the place around him was completely new. He was in a room filled with luxury, with silk curtains and sparkling crystal lights. The richness of the room scared him for a moment, thinking he might have used up all his money on a fancy hospital room. But before he could, Ren stepped in. With a quick punch, he knocked the man to the ground. Anger flared in Ren's eyes, though he winced right after. It was, after all, his first time throwing a punch. Leia hurried to Ren's side, worried. She gently scolded him, saying that next time he planned to hit someone, he should warn her so she could bring protection. Ren, you're old enough to manage your own land. Have you thought about where you'd like it to be? Ren was taken aback. His surprise turned into confusion as he asked about getting land. All the inside of his son's innocence, explaining that nobles his age usually start managing a territory. He got up and pointed at a big map on the wall. Seriously, he asked if fixing the food supply problem would make their land safer. Aldian smiled at Ren's eagerness but thought his approach was too simple. He explained that solving the food issue needed careful planning and slow, steady action. But Ren wasn't being simplistic. He was thinking of all the knowledge from past human advancements. In Island City, the city lord's residence was full of tension. A nervous man reported that the Duke's youngest son would arrive soon and suggested they take action first. But the masked man across from him dismissed the worry with a calm response. He told them to wait for orders and not to touch Ren for now. His hard work brought him nothing but disappointment and deep loneliness. His constant push had finally taken a toll on him, breaking his mental health and leaving him in this dire situation. From the start, Yan's life was filled with sadness. A car crash took his parents, leaving him to face the world alone. Ren stepped closer, his presence intimidating. He warned the man that it didn't matter who he was. If he ever found him near a gambling den again, there would be consequences. Ren's cold tone and stern look scared the man. Stammering, the gambler promised to stay away from gambling and quickly fled. As the youngest and most spoiled in the family, Ren enjoyed a life of great comfort. But even as he got used to this luxury, he felt out of place, wondering why he deserved such kindness. To calm his thoughts, he told himself that maybe this was a reward for the tough life he had before. Elda was an amazing world, where magic ran everything. Ren knew that to revive the area, he needed more people, as a strong workforce was key to any industrial revolution. He realized how big the challenge was but believed he could succeed. Ren wasn't starting from scratch. He had a special skill called Human Resource Scan, given to him by the system. An idea hit him. Dredging the river and building a canal to the sea might revive the land. Ren's thoughts were interrupted by a loud cry. The young girl knelt in the dirt, holding onto a man's leg, likely her father, who seemed set on going to a gambling den. The girl begged him not to gamble away their last money, meant for her mother's treatment. Ren smiled warmly at her, noting she was likely going to the city to find a doctor for her mother. He suggested she join his group since they were headed there too. Lillian hesitated, worried about dirtying his carriage, but Ren reassured her with a kind smile. He told her that a carriage was just a means of transport, just wood put together. The girl begged him not to gamble away their last money, meant for her mother's treatment. Her voice shook as she said losing the money would doom her sick mother. The man, lost in his greed, shouted at the girl to let go. His belief in his luck made him ignore her desperation. When she wouldn't let go, he angrily raised his hand to hit her. While most were normal, one special trait stood out, her potential in agriculture and harvesting. Seeing this talent, Ren decided to recruit her for his plans to restore the land. Ren smiled warmly at her, noting she was likely going to the city to find a doctor for her mother. He suggested she join his group since they were headed there too. He walked over to the man on the ground, telling Leia to check on the girl while he dealt with the gimp. Ren saw the Elwyn family as a potential threat, one that could betray him anytime. Stopped. Whale glared at Ren, accusing him of not respecting the casino's rules. Ren let go and replied calmly, saying he knew the rules well. In this world, power was everything, and the strong set the rules. Whale, arrogantly sure he was the strongest in the city, questioned why Ren dared to oppose him, asking if Ren even knew who he was. Ren stayed calm, saying confidently that he didn't need to know who Whale was. What mattered was his strength, as his fist was bigger and his word was law. He intended to take everything from this place to fund his industrial projects. Inside, the den was loud and chaotic. Gamblers begged for more money, sure they could win back their losses. Some celebrated small wins or mourned big losses. Ren watched closely. As long as this den was here, he knew the people of Island City wouldn't be motivated to work hard. Ren smiled back, pretending he didn't know much about gambling, and said he wanted to try a few games. He asked for a simple game, thinking he was an easy target. The staff suggested a dice game and gave Ren 2 free chips to start. Ren took them, acting pleased. The game began as Ren tossed the 2 chips onto the betting slot. Ren smiled lightly, telling Lucas not to be so tense. He explained it wasn't a big deal. These men had tried to kill him the day before. Looking directly at Lucas, Ren added that the men claimed to control Island City and hinted at having a powerful supporter. Lucas's face darkened, though he tried to stay composed. Ren shared that during his survey of Island City, he found the cause of the city's annual flooding, a poorly managed canal in the far north. By building a dam there, they could control water flow, irrigate fields in the dry season, and prevent floods in the rainy season. Lucas, listening closely, was impressed by the plan's cleverness. Though scared, Lillian didn't move, protecting Ren with her small frame. Before Whale could reach her, Ren stepped in, grabbing his arm. Ren used his system skill to check Whale's stats. They were low, with only 5 loyalty points and a cruel, bloodthirsty personality. Ren saw the Elwyn family as a potential threat, one that could betray him anytime. Gathering her courage, Lillian stepped forward and declared she wouldn't let them scam her brother. Her boldness caught everyone's attention, though most were too scared to react. Murmurs spread, questioning who she was to challenge the young master of the Elwyn family. Whale, the young master, looked at her coldly, angry at her defiance. Ren, unfazed, stayed calm. He addressed them, pointing out their inconsistency. When he asked for investments, they claimed poverty. But now they were suddenly concerned about profits. He noted that many of them were involved with the casinos and warned this was their last chance to protect their reputations, or he would take matters into his own hands. At this, Ren's soldiers stepped forward, reminding everyone of his authority. His presence commanded attention, and guests quickly changed their demeanor. The head of the Raven family hurried forward, introducing himself and giving Ren a gift. Another guest, head of the Jose family, introduced his daughter, hoping to gain favor, but Ren's sharp expression silenced the room as he told everyone to quiet down. The attendant sneered, saying the chips were loans, not gifts. He added that each chip was worth 100 gold coins, and with fees and interest, Ren now owed 250 gold coins. Smirking, the attendant suggested that if Ren couldn't pay, he could leave his maid as collateral. Lucas, among the nobles, was surprised to see them. These men were always with Whale, and their presence made Lucas uneasy. He started to fear something had happened to Whale. The men were brought in, tied up and unable to speak. Ren, still calm, asked Lucas if he recognized them. With authority, he announced he would gladly discuss the law with them. His voice was calm but firm as he ordered those who could clarify the situation to be brought in. The crowd fell silent, tense, waiting to see what Ren would do next. At his command, 2 men captured at the casino were brought in. The casino turned chaotic as gamblers rushed to grab the scattered chips. Ren sighed, watching them, muttering that none of these people were useful. Then, a commanding voice filled the room, asking who was causing trouble. It was the same man Ren had seen on horseback earlier. Ren smiled,